Hi, everybody. It's meteorologist Joe Chaffee. I thought we'd take a look at the European model run today and the one from last night with regards to the possibility of some kind of nor'easter here at the end of the week. And I just want to show you the differences because now it seems that the differences are going to really hinge on how this weather system here winds up getting oriented along the East Coast. So you can see what happens is that whole area of energy at the upper layers of the atmosphere drops down into the Ohio Valley and toward the coast of Delaware. And this produces a surface low just off the New Jersey coast on today's run, which then lifts northwestward as the upper low lifts up to the north and then pulls out. Now, the difference is this was last night's run I just showed you, and I'm going to show you on today's run. It's a little different because it looks like it's going in the same direction with the upper system, and then it kind of lifts it up to the north, and you can see it there. It lifts it up northeastward up into western New York, and then it drops it down into Pennsylvania before it takes it overhead. So really what this is going to hinge on is how this entire thing winds up being structured when it gets along the East Coast. Now, I'll switch over to the GFS, which kind of does the same idea here. It actually drops the cutoff low further south into Virginia. And again, it's structured differently, and it actually rotates it around for about 2 or 3 days before it finally starts to lift it out to the northeast. So its behavior of this system is a little different than the European. It's the same idea with regards to the energy, but it just treats it differently. And when we look at the Canadian run, it has a third idea in that it kind of rotates the upper low, but it's not nearly as deep. It keeps it overhead, then drops it southeast and then offshore. And this, of course, is going to affect all of this affects how the surface lows behave. If we look at the, I'm going to switch to the surface map so that we can have some kind of continuity, and I'll get a little closer in terms of the geography so you can see it better. This is the GFS. The GFS takes, has the low off the Carolinas and Virginia. You see it there, and it just rotates it northwestward. So this would, it's not overly deep, but it still would produce some nor'easter conditions here. And by the way, you should remember that next Friday, the 6th, is the full moon. So going into all this for the full moon is going to be problematic for coastal areas. The European has a low that comes along just inland of North Carolina. You can see it. It's right off the New Jersey coast, just east of Atlantic City. It's fairly deep, too. It's down to a 990 millibar surface low, which is about 16 millibars deeper than what the GFS had. And also, when we go back to last night's run, where it had a surface low just off the Georgia-South Carolina coast, and then you can see how it wraps up a very deep low east of Delaware to 980 low. So it's 10 millibars deeper than what it was on the day run, and the day run's a little further northwest. So, but all the models have the similar idea here. So we're going to have to see how this all plays out over the next couple of days. There'll be many more model runs to go with this, but it seems like it wants to bring down a lot of energy into the Ohio Valley and then eventually toward the mid-Atlantic coast. So something's going to happen here. How it evolves is going to make a difference. In terms of timing, it makes a difference too, because this is on Thursday on the overnight run. The European is a little bit faster with all of this and how it evolves. Now, none of the models have been hitting home runs lately for a number of different reasons. So the fact that there's 3 solutions here should not be a surprise to anybody. But it is something we're going to have to watch closely because of the fact that we are going into this full moon phase, and that's going to mean for some serious tidal flooding issues for southern New England and for the mid-Atlantic coast, should this be the case. How this all winds up getting oriented along the East Coast, or if it does, maybe it winds up being further inland, and in which case we'll just get a good soaking rain out of it, but not much more in terms of any kind of consequences for coastal areas. So just keep it tuned here. And by the way, I have a new weather website that's in conjunction with my current website, which is meteorologistjoechaffee.com. This one is weatherlongisland.com. If it would, there it goes. Okay, so this is specifically for you Long Islanders here. If you're, if that is, you know, where you live, I just want to show you some of the things that you can do on this site. It's in a bit more of a magazine format, which I think makes it easier to navigate. And eventually, I'm going to take the other site and move it into this format, and you can instantly share to Facebook or Twitter if you like. Also, just to show you, you know, we have the current satellite loop that's up there, and also, if you ever need to check latest watches and warnings, there are feeds here for Nassau County, Suffolk County, and for New York State. If we go to the regular website, I also made a couple of changes on that with regards to the feeds. You can get the watches and warnings feeds are up here also for New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut. And you can just click when there's actual watches and warnings. You can just click on any of these links, and it'll take you to the Weather Service page. Well, it's supposed to take you to a page that looks pretty decent and not the code. But when there are watches and warnings, it takes you to the Weather Service's warning page, and you can catch up on what's going on, so you can keep in tune with all the latest. So don't forget, it's weatherlongisland.com if you're on Long Island. And by the way, you can also, all the latest meteorologist Joe Chaffee posts are on here. The last 5 posts are listed here for you to access very easily. So once you're done on this site, you can go to that one. And by the way, here's the latest rainfall forecast from the Weather Service that takes us through 8 p.m. Monday. Generally a ½ inch to 1 inch of rain for much of the area, with 1 inch to 1.5 inches being indicated for the southern half of Long Island and parts of New York City. So we'll keep you in tune in terms of all the latest developments regarding possible nor'easter for later this week. And of course, you can catch me on Facebook. I'll be doing a live broadcast sometime later this evening.